course, here's what he thinks of black jobs. I love his phrase, black jobs. It tells a lot about the man.
It tells a lot about the man.
That's when he was still trying to fake it. He still thought he had something at that point.
Using the term black jobs, it tells a lot about the man. So let's see here Joe Biden recently.
In just 3.5 years, we created over 2 million new black jobs for black Americans and black.
Oh, so he caught himself, right?
Okay, last segment of the day. Senator Ron Johnson tweets out, I was just briefed by the FBI's Dan Bongino that the FBI and the Justice Department obtained call logs from 8 U.S. senators, including myself. We were surveilled simply for being Republicans. This does not surprise me, but it should shock. So he's talking about during the Biden administration. This does not surprise me, but it should shock every American. What the Biden administration has done is an outrageous abuse of power. It is blatant political persecution. Those responsible must be held fully accountable. Spoiler alert, no one will be held accountable. No one. The FBI, the CIA, they spy on senators and congressmen and everybody, journalists and you too at home, and nothing happens. We live in a surveillance state. Edward Snowden proved that. And we don't have the Fourth Amendment anymore. It's all gone. And they're illegally, unconstitutionally spying on every American, including Ron Johnson and his 7 other Republican senators. So here it's from the FBI. It says, document, FBI special agent conducted preliminary toll analysis on limited toll records associated with the following U.S. senators: Mike Kelly, Lindsey Graham. Well, we know what's in Lindsey Graham's private. We don't have to. Come on. That's not tough. We all know what's in Lindsey Graham's emails. Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville. I'm Tommy Tuberville. Ron Johnson, Cynthia Loomis, and Marsha Blackburn. That's something. Here's a story about it. FBI analyzed Republican lawmakers' phone records during January 6th probe, the GOP senators say. The blah, blah, blah. Senator Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley shared a one-page unclassified document that I just showed you that he said shows that the cell phone tolling data of Republican lawmakers was sought and obtained in 2023 as part of the FBI's Arctic Frost investigation, a precursor of special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the efforts by President Trump and his allies to overturn the 2020 election results. And then if you remember what happened to Jack Smith, it all got thrown out because he was full of garbage. That whole case guy, and he was committing prosecutorial misconduct. Pretty sure he was doing that. Senator Ron Johnson, who chairs the permanent subcommittee on investigation, said the data focused on calls made in the days around the January 6, 2020 attack, and on the adding that no content was retrieved, but rather who was called and time, date, and time and length call. He said time twice. The document says the document. So they didn't go after Pelosi's. Isn't that interesting? You'd think because lots of information coming out here regarding who was responsible for the entire cheap local production, and I think it was Nancy Pelosi. She even admitted it on that one camera. Anyway, the document says an FBI special agent, whose name is redacted, conducted the analysis of 9 lawmakers. I just told you who they were. Speaking to reporters, Grassley alleged that the records violated the privacy of the Republican lawmakers. You think? I bet the FBI feels real bad. He also warned that there could be consequences for people involved. If heads don't roll in this town, nothing changes. Hey, spoiler alert, Chuck, nothing's changing. Nothing. He did not say he would bring Smith or other people before the Senate Judiciary Committee to testify, so nothing's going to change. Adding that the panel does not plan to conduct any kind of oversight into the case, but will instead rely on the FBI.
Oh.
The FBI is going to investigate the FBI. Turns out nothing happened, and there is no Epstein list, and there was a trans shooter that killed Charlie Kirk. That's all. It's all over. We got it all figured out. FBI Kash Patel said Monday night that abuse of power ends now. That's what he said. He went on to elaborate, unless they tell me to back down and shut up. Jack Smith tracked private communications, calls of nearly a dozen GOP senators during that's the guy. So here's Kash Patel. Hey, dude, we recently uncovered proof that the phone records of U.S. lawmakers were seized for political purposes. That abuse of power ends now. Under my leadership, the FBI will deliver truth and accountability and never again be weaponized against the American people. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Don't believe you. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he had grave concerns about the cell phone revelation. I have grave concerns about a new report showing that the Biden-era FBI spied on Republican senators, and I fully support Senate committees getting to the bottom of this outrageous abuse of power and weaponization of the government. Turns out Chuck Grassley's not going to do that. So he's the Republican chair of that committee that's supposed to do something like that, and he said he's not going to. So looks like John Thune, you got something to say? Say it to Chuck Grassley. Here's Lindsey Graham. He was talking to Attorney General Pam Bondi. As chairman of the Judiciary Committee, why were my phone records? So here it is. Let's listen. Why? Let's listen.
Can you tell me why my phone records, when I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, were sought by the Jack Smith agents? Why did they ask to know who I called and what I was doing from January 4th to the 7th? Can you tell me that?
No, Senator, and there were 8 senators in total.
Do you think that was an abuse of power?
Senator, I cannot discuss whether there is or is not an ongoing investigation. If I may add one thing, they also wasted $50 million on what you just described, trying to put President Trump in jail.
Glenn Greenwald makes a great point about this. He says Lindsey has spent his whole career defending mass warrantless surveillance of Americans. Yes. Now that he's a surveillance target, he's enraged. Why was my phone? It's just supposed to happen to regular Americans, not me. I'm powerful. This abuse of the FBI, this is abuse of the FBI. But watching Lindsey Graham object is like watching Democrats objecting to Trump's censorship. Yeah. Both Dianne Feinstein, and so we covered this when it happened. The CIA completely spied on their emails. Dianne Feinstein and Representative Jane Harman, both California Democrats, did the same thing as Lindsey's doing here. They were the biggest cheerleaders for NSA FBI's domestic spying and then became enraged when they were spied on. It's not spying when we do it, okay? Just like it's not lying when we tell you a fib, but for all the right reasons, like taking $7,000 to post from Israel. Come on. Senator Dianne Feinstein, the CIA spied on the Senate and may have violated the Constitution. Hartman outraged over alleged wiretapping, but they're okay if you get wiretapped. Just to keep that in mind. It's funny that the Democrats now remember there's a Constitution. Lindsey is probably more upset that someone has seen his browser history. Come on. Come on. That is inappropriate. Those are inappropriate jokes. What happened, Lindsey? Did your karma bite you in your Palantir? If you know what I'm talking about, come on. It is hilarious to hear Republicans cry about being spied on when they refused to kill the Patriot Act.
Yes, exactly.
And allowed it to even evolve. They can all cram their outrage up their a-holes. If they wanted to stop, they would rein in the intelligence community, but they don't want it to stop. They just don't want it to happen to them. That's Anonymous makes a great point, Anonymous. Great point. There you go. So your government's all out of control. And the problem is the people who are outraged at the spying, they're okay with the spying. They just don't want it happening to them. They're not big supporters of the Constitution. They're not standing up for your constitutional rights. They're not standing up for your right to privacy. They're not standing up for your Fourth Amendment rights. They just care about themselves because that's how you get to be a senator. You're a narcissistic sociopath. Okay. And if you'd like to hear me, you don't have anything to say about this, do you, Chris? Do you have anything to say?
I thought what Glenn Greenwald said was perfect, and it is like the censorship debate. Both sides do this, where they're fine with it if it's happening to the other side, but not them. And my question is, was it always that way, or is that like a new phenomenon? Was it that way in the 80s and 90s?
No, politicians used to be great. And then they just all of a sudden became hypocritical maniacs.
It just seems
like in the last couple of days.
It just seems more than ever now, though. Like, you can't even have a rational conversation with people about, for instance, the censorship stuff he was talking about.
Well, people have become more siloed. It used to be, now it's like they've really. No, I was a Democrat all my life, and so and I live in Hollywood, which is a Democrat bubble. So I'm more exposed to Democrats being maniacs like that. Like they don't talk to people who aren't politically aligned with them. And that didn't used to be the way. That wasn't the case when I moved to Hollywood. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Everybody loved Drew Carey, even though he was Republican. Everybody loved Tim Allen. ABC gave him a television show for 20 years, right? Or however long he had it.
Yeah.
And, it didn't used to be that way. People didn't hate, I used to be in a card game and there were Republicans in my card game.
Well, especially with free speech, I feel like people used to understand why it's necessary. You need to protect the speech you hate, because then if you try to censor people, they'll try to censor you eventually. Like, people seem to not understand that.
Yeah, they
anymore.
they don't care. Yeah, that's right, because they don't. People aren't consistent.
Yeah,
and they don't. It's like when people come on the show and they argue that, well, of course they had to censor. It was during COVID and people were dying. 3,000 people were dying a day.
Right.
So you're not for free speech then? Well, I'm for free speech, but not if, if it's really a serious time. Well, if you don't, as Jon Stewart pointed out, if free speech is a value for you, then it's all that you need it for when it's hard. You don't need values for when it's easy, for when it's hard. Like during a fake pandemic, you need to stand by your free speech value, because if you don't stand by it when it's hard, then they're not values, they're just hobbies.
Yeah.
That's as Jon Stewart pointed out. Okay, come see me make jokes about this in Irvine, California, Australia, Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday. Everybody's off. We'll see you December 6th in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Thanks for watching. I'll see you over to Steph for the rest of the thing.
All right, I've got just a few. So big screen camera 4, while everybody makes their way out of the studio, I will be keeping Betsy here with me while you make your moves out. Porter Potato Head went on C-SPAN once and said pedophilia should be reclassified as a valid sexual identity
That's
and
not what
non-criminalized. She's a demented freak.
That video. That's not actually what.
Oh,
We played that video.
right.
Yeah,
But that's what G. Gordon Lizzie was saying. Funny name. Stay here, Betsy. Do you want to take her leash with you? Yes?
No, you keep.
Okay, I'll keep her here. All right. All right, you can go ahead and you can come back to me, camera 4 beside me. Thank you. Let's go with this. Sit. Betsy, sit, sweetie. Betsy, sit down. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. Zap. Zing. Porter's ex sounds like an idiot white guy. He didn't have a gallon of cold mayonnaise to spread on his scalp. Come on, ham hock. All right. Thank you. 2 more. Ron Johnson supported the Patriot Act. I bet you every single one of those senators supported the Patriot Act. What do you think, girls? I am so goddamn sick of both sides' argument. There are only narcissistic pieces of shit arguing with each other. It has nothing to do with us, right? Tropical Rocket. I know it does look like Farrah hair tonight, doesn't it? Good hair night. Let's see here. I think I got through most of them. RB Ham, I'll make sure to tell your lovely compliment to Chris today. And Chris Keene was our special guest in studio, friend of the show, hilarious stand-up. He's on the road with us every so often, which is great. All right. Great show tonight. Haptichari. Haptichar. What is that one? How do I say that one? Phonetics, please. All right, got to go up to the top, see if I forgot anything. We try always on the show to get as to many super chats and rumble rants as possible. Let's see here. Scrolling up, let's see. America used to be healthy and vaccines were corporate. America's strategy to financialize the health mission accomplished. All right. That was our friend Luna Lager. All right. Got it. A Rochi boy, a Fasau, Rochi boy. Got it. Will Henderson. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. And remember, go do something nice for somebody today, right? It's been tough out there. Let's go do something nice for somebody. All right. Adios. I'm going to take Betsy for a walk.